everybody. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Zach, and welcome to Perk Bark.
We're so happy you're here to leave the old week behind and start fresh with some music, coffee, and conversation.
Yes, and what are we talking about today?
Verdi! We're not
like
just
the color green?
I was going to say, not just the color of our couch.
Joe Green?
But the Joe Green.
Or Joe...
We have a very funny story about that. But anyway, yes, good old Joe Green, Giuseppe Verdi.
And why are we talking about him?
We have an audition coming up, and we wanted some practice, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, and for our Patreon subscribers as well, this is also a thank you sort of little mini concert. So you can see that we do work on new stuff. And it's thanks to you guys that we're actually able to take this audition, because it is out of town, requires a flight, requires a hotel, so it's going to be, it's a lot of, it's very exciting. And they specifically asked for Verdi, so that's why we're doing a Verdi week and everything else.
Yes, your donation dollars at work. This is specifically what we're using it for, and maybe we'll even document and send our Patreon members little snippets of video of when we're there. So be on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, yes, we're talking about Verdi.
Why? Why is he so important in the world of opera?
Oh my goodness, he's created so many operas. 26,
if you don't count all the revisions. Yeah, 26 operas. He has some other works as well, but it's mostly vocal works. And the vast majority of it was opera. Mm-hmm.
Starting with what, Nabucco?
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure Nabucco was his first opera.
No, there's some crappy ones. Yeah, Nabucco was the first successful one. There's some crappy ones in there, for sure. But he started at the tail end. Well, he ushered out, I guess we should say, the Bel Canto era. So both of the things that we're singing are sort of like straddling Bel Canto, which is like early Romantic era. Very structured opera things. If you think the plots are kind of normal. I don't know. They're not super.
They're rooted in depth. In the real world.
Yeah, and often, there's some stuff from like history too, but they're not very complicated stories.
Yeah,
and they tend to be based on things that people already knew really well. Fast forward to the middle and end of Verdi's career, and now we're firmly into, really, like we said in the description, not really in any other era. It was the Verdi era, for sure. But he did take these forms, because it's a very formal structure for a lot of the Bel Canto scenes and operas, and he extended it and expanded it and made it honestly more interesting to be able, and more pliable, more flexible, to be able to do big, enormous political intrigue dramas like Don Carlo, like the one that I sang from last week, down to really, really personal things about very, very complex, real people.
Like La Traviata, for example.
There you go. And still, it's still all Italian opera, still based on the same basic format, but really brought it to new heights and allowed people like Puccini and Mascagni and to do Verismo later, where it's
talk about related. I mean, it literally means truth.
Yep, and you've taken that form and you've stretched it as thin as you possibly can, so it feels as real as possible on stage. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, before we get to our singing and the plots of those, said musicals.
the Verdi musicals.
The Verdi musical. Let's talk about some coffee first. So what have we got?
The musicals of Joe Greenberg. Yep.
That's right.
We have some lattes. Well, I guess they're kind of cappuccinos. They're really small for lattes. But
so
yeah,
good.
We chose to use a sort of a commodity style bean.
That's right. From Aldi. Thank you, Aldi. Please sponsor us. That'd be great.
That would be awesome.
We love some Aldi coffee, especially if we have a second coffee in the day. It tends to be a lot of it, bolder, more of that like tobacco flavor that you typically see in like dark roast coffees or things like that. The punch 'em in the face, very bold flavored coffee. That's what we have. It's actually a single origin from Peru, which is really cool that Aldi has done that. They have a Honduras that's actually pretty good, and a Peru, which is what we have.
And they do taste different, which is pretty crazy. Yeah,
I think it's like $4.99 a bag. So if you're looking to just have that, I don't even want to say run of the mill, because it's really not. It is definitely a step above your Folgers, and it's whole bean, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, because it keeps a little bit longer in the bag, and then, like us, we have different coffee makers that require different size grounds of coffee. So it's easy to do that with.
Yeah, so if we have an Ethiopia that really doesn't stand up well to milk because it's a little bit lighter, it's a little more nuanced, we go to our Aldi coffee, one of those single origins that stand up to, the oat milk that we have in our latte chino, as it'll henceforth be known.
Sure.
Yeah. Right now.
Yeah.
So,
and we brewed it in the mocha pot because it is the most Italian of methods for the most Italian of composers. I mean, one of the de facto anthems of Italy is a chorus from Nabucco.
Yes,
Va Pensiero. You hear it play in your head when you think Italy, for sure. And that's not to say that Verdi was a pan-Italian voice. He's from the north, and he's firmly from an intelligentsia class. And so partly Verismo, believe it or not, was a little bit of a rebellion against him and what he was doing up in the north, trying to show stories of people in other parts of Italy. But it's kind of cool that, like, his musical advances helped usher in that nevertheless.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's very cool.
Yeah. So am I singing first?
You're singing first. Tell the people what you're singing. I
am singing Urna Fatale from La Forza del Destino.
Urna Fatale Lagrima. Nope. I tried.
Nope. This...
That's a tenor aria.
So... Bad opera singer, I know, but I didn't really know this opera very well. Partly because I've never really been able to sing anything Verdi before, so I sort of look at them and go, "Oh, that's cool." But this one, it's finally something that I'm vocally starting to be able to do a little bit more, because he wrote for baritones in a very specific way, and you'll hear some of the highlights of what that means in just a moment. But so I didn't really know Forza all that well. So as I was reading the plot a few weeks ago to start to get ready for this.
What's the whole name of the opera?
La Forza del Destino. I said it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you just said La Forza.
No, and then you said no because you started to make a joke about Urna Fatale.
Oh, I'm sorry. See? Marriage.
Yeah. Anyway, so it translates roughly to, like, the inevitability of fate. But it's usually if it's translated into English, like for a sign or something like that, the force of destiny. And it is a family drama. It is a love story. My character, Don Carlo de Vargas, is brother to Leonora, who is at the beginning of the opera is trying to abscond with the tenor. And
we don't need to know.
I don't know his name. Yeah.
Sorry out there if you're a tenor.
Whatever. And she knows that it's against her family's wishes. Her father confronts them as they're running out. What's the guy's name? The tenor. He's got a pistol drawn, but he's like, I'm not going to fight you. So he throws the pistol down to the ground. He's like, I'm going to give up. But the pistol goes off and it kills the father. They run away and they leave. The family starts to basically, like, fall into ruin. It's a whole thing. Don Carlo goes away into the army. He ends up meeting up with this guy.
Don Alvaro.
Don Alvaro. That's right. I actually say his name in the aria, and I totally couldn't remember what it was.
Again, new arias for both of us.
Yeah, so it's brand. Yeah.
First time.
So he meets this guy in the army. They end up actually, like, becoming really close friends and saving each other's lives a couple of different times and stuff. And then Alvaro gets injured very, very badly, and it looks like he's going to die. But before he goes in to get his surgery, he goes to Carlos. He goes, I have this trunk full of papers. If I die, burn them and don't read them. And so this guy's like, the hell?
It's like when somebody walks in and your friend goes, don't turn around. What do you want to do?
Absolutely, 100%. So it turns out that Alvaro and Leonora had, after they ran away, they had lost touch with each other. She, being so sad and feeling like she had caused the death of her father, went to go live in a monastery. She went to go live up on a mountain where she was in a hermitage all by herself. Alvaro entered the army under a false name. Carlo entered the army under a false name because they were both in disgrace and they wanted to do something that was honorable. Met each other. This happens. This is where the aria that you're going to hear comes from. And it's him. It's deciding whether or not he's going to open the case. Because he starts to feel that something is going on. He says, you know, by all that's good in Calatrava, where he's from, get better. And Alvaro is like, because Alvaro thinks that he knows, and it starts to like make Carlo think like, is this the guy? This is the guy, isn't it? This is the guy who like ruined my family. So the first half of the aria is him going back and forth like, I can't, I won't, I will, I won't, I will, I won't. And then eventually, after the end of that, where he's like, oh, it's too honorable, I can't do it, you know. Then eventually he's like, nah, screw it, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm pretty sure it's him. So he does. He opens it up, and he sees letters from his sister to this guy, and he's like, oh, gotcha. And then somebody comes in, and he's like, hey, this guy's going to live. Your friend's going to live. And Carlo is like, awesome. Now I'm going to kill him. And the opera continues on, and it gets all crazy. Basically, they end up in a duel on the mountainside where Leonora is. Carlo gets wounded mortally. Alvaro finds Leonora, realizes, oh, hey, you were that girl that I was, like, with for a while. This guy is dying over here. Like, maybe you can help him a little bit. And so she comes out to help him. And he's like, oh, my sister. And you expect them to have, like a loving embrace or something like that. No, he stabs her and they both die together. And then in some versions, then Alvaro goes and jumps off the mountain, so everybody dies. It's pretty awesome, though. But the first time I was reading that, especially the end of the synopsis, I was like, oh, they're gonna embrace. It'll be nice. And then he's like, and then he stabs her, and they both die. I was like, and that was my face for, I swear, 45 seconds.
Well, we have a very funny color commentary.
I can't wait.
Jen says, please don't open the case. Narrator. He opened the case.
That's pretty much it. That is exactly it.
That's pretty funny. I like that.
So, clearly, I mean, I'm fired up about it. This is really...
It's a soap opera.
It is. Oh my god, it is a soap opera.
Oh my gosh.
But,
so where do we see your character in this aria? What piece of it?
Oh, like I said, it's where Alvaro's dying. He has told him, don't go look in the case.
So that's where we start the aria.
That's where we start the aria. And Carlo is like, wait, why?
Gotcha.
Is this? No. I'm not going to do it. I owe him my life. Wait, no. I'm going to do it. And then, aha! I'm going to kill him. That's the aria in a nutshell. It's in a very set structure. Mm-hmm. There's a recitative, which we talked about last week at the very beginning. There's a cavatina, which is a slower, more lyrical section. There is something called a tempo di mezzo in the middle, where it kind of sounds like the recitative at the beginning, but it adds a new piece of information that changes the character's mood, and that's the piece of information that Alvaro is going to live. And also, yeah.
Do you sing it, or is it cut?
Oh, I sing it. I don't sing the guy that comes in as like, hey, he's gonna live, but you'll see my reaction though. It's very.
In mine, that part is cut.
Yeah, and then it is the cabaletta, the fast, like sort of rejoinder to the slow section.
The part that makes the singer want to sweat.
Oh, I love the cabaletta. It's the cavatina that just kills me on this one. Whew. So anyway,
Are we gonna sing it?
Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here we go.
Woo!
Morir, tremenda cosa, si intrepido, si prode, e pur morrà. Singolar costui, tremo di Calatrava il nome, a lui palese ne forse il disonor. Cielo, qual lampo, sei fossi il seduttore, adesso in mia mano e vive. Se mi ingannassi, questa chiave il dica. Ecco i fogli che tento e la fe che giurai e questa vita che debbo al suo valor, anch'io lo salvo se fosse quell'inno maledetto che macchiò il sangue mio. Il suo gello si franga, nion qui mi vede, non ben mi veggio. Fatale del mio destino, conscito disperso vada il mal pensiero e all'atto indegno mi concito mi concito pensier e s'altra prova rinvenir potesi vediam qui va un ritratto soggetto non ve nulla ne disse nulla promisi saprà dunque l'amore Don Alvaro è ferito ora egli è viva e di mi mano poi muoia e salvo oh gioia salvo gioia immensa che s'è molto il cor donna al tradimento sull'infame vendicar Leonora ove t'ascondi di seguisti fra le squadre chi nel sangue del tuo padre chi nel sangue di tuo padre ti fe il volto rosseggiar felice pianzarei se potessi brando mio Mendù d'Averno ed io tu nel sole colpo consacrar Mendù al dio d'Averno vuol consacrar Mendù al dio d'Averno vuol consacrar Mendù vuol consacrar
A nice short sing.
Yeah, a little aria.
That was beautiful, my love.
Thank you. You can tell it's still new. It's working on it, but
I can't. Yeah. I could see the he lives part, and I was like, oh, he's alive.
Yeah. Another thing that's tough with the equipment and the setup that we have is this music is definitely written singer first, in the sense that the where you breathe and how you breathe and even like phrase to phrase, your tempo choices are very individual. And so that's why I was sort of like looking up, looking down, looking up, looking down. We have a button on our recording so that you can do like a hold so it won't go on until you want to go on.
I'll be utilizing that as well in my piece.
But it's always, it's a little bit, it feels a little bit like robotic, stuck in a straitjacket. But hopefully it
doesn't look that way.
Hopefully you kind of got it.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way as the singer, but even knowing that is the deal while watching you, it doesn't look like that at all.
Great.
All right, so my piece is Ernani in Volami from Verdi's Ernani. Heyo. My character is Elvira, not Donna Elvira like Mozart's, but a different Elvira, and she's got a love quadrangle going on. There are 3 men, only one of whom she likes.
And only one of whom is she related to.
Yeah, gross. So
they're not the same.
They're not the same, no. So I'm going to give you some bullet points here because it can get a little crazy. All right. Well, the opera opens in Spain, in the mountains of Aragon to be exact, which I looked it up, and they are beautiful.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
Yeah, I was like, oh, wow.
Yep.
Okay. So the leader of the bandits is Ernani, and he's the tenor. Of course, the soprano wants to be with the tenor. Not the soprano, but you know. But Ernani is actually a nobleman. He's disguised as the leader of the bandits.
Naturally, of course.
Yes. And this is who Elvira loves. Loves Ernani, you know. We first meet Elvira in her bedroom, and this is where my aria comes in. She is dreading the arranged marriage to Silva, which is her uncle.
Madon!
Madon! Little does she know, Ernani has sent the bandits to rescue, aka kidnap her, but she doesn't know that yet. So she sings this aria, and in the middle, the part that I'm cutting out that I had mentioned earlier, in between the cavatina and the cabaletta, Silva sends her, via servants, her wedding gifts. And she basically says, I don't want these. I don't want you. You're gross. I want Ernani. Nothing, no gem. No gem is going to change my mind, basically. So, you can't buy my love, is what she's saying. After the aria, Don Carlo... Different one, comes in.
But also sung by a baritone. And it's also different than Don Carlos, which is an opera about Don Carlos.
Also by Verdi.
Third different person.
Yeah. He didn't stretch that imagination.
Yeah, no, I think it is a different person. I don't think it's the same guy.
Well, okay, so...
Regardless.
Don Carlo comes in, and he is disguised as well as a peasant, but Elvira recognizes him and says, you know what? No, I don't want your love either. And so he tries to force himself on her. Great. But then Ernani comes in and rescues her and is like, no, absolutely not. Then Silva comes in and recognizes the king and says, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Basically says, I will take care of Ernani. Well, Ernani makes kind of a deal with the devil, aka Silva, and says, listen, if you protect me from the king, I'll give you a favor, whatever you want. Which turns out to be a mistake, because fast forward, Silva keeps his promise, but when Elvira and Ernani get together in the end, they get married, on the wedding day, Silva comes up to Ernani, hands him a dagger, and says, you have to kill yourself. And he does. And that is the end of the opera. A nice light drama, right? So great. So
that's the other thing with Verdi is there's only a couple of like truly comedy.
Oh yeah, this is
true
not
comedies.
Comedy, no.
Yeah.
No. You think it's going to be with all of the cross party lines. Oh, what do I want to say? Like you're a nobleman, but you dress up as a servant or you know. So like very Shakespearean, right? So you want it to be this happy ending, but also Shakespearean. It is not a happy ending. So anyway, we meet Elvira in her bedroom, and she says in the recitative, the night has come, but Silva hasn't come back yet, and that he wouldn't come back at all. I don't like him. He's gross. Again, I'm paraphrasing. And if only Ernani would take me away. And that's where we get into the cavatina. Oh, Ernani, take me away from this place. If you take me away, I will reward you with my love. I don't care where we go, whether it be, caverns or desolate lands. I will follow you. And these lands and these caverns will be an Eden to me as long as I have your love. Then we get into that little part where the servants come, and then she says, nothing was going to change my mind. I still love Ernani. And that's it. So let's see the singing version. Again, very new aria. Gonna try to do this bad boy memorize. Here we go.
Oh.
Oh, boy.
Well.
Talk about a short sing.
Yeah, right?
I got some emails done.
Thanks. I watched his. He's over there.
I watched yours.
Mm-hmm. I'm getting comfy.
I am getting comfy. I sang for 8.5 minutes. I'm going to get comfy now.
Mine was only 7:41, I guess. So, there we go.
Oh, I actually don't know how long mine is.
Oh, man. Well, this was nice because now we know what we have to work on for those auditions.
Oh, yeah. There are some things.
There are some things. There are some words that need to be revisited, but we're not going to tell you where they are because if you didn't catch them, that's a good thing.
Then we have done it.
Yes.
We've done it. Cool.
Our auditions, to answer your question, our auditions are on your birthday, February 20th.
So we won't have a show that weekend. But like we said, for our Patreon supporters, we'll post some little updates. Going back to Shite Town.
That's right.
We gotta do some, eat the deep dish, see the bears.
I hope our accent comes back. It's going to be a weird bastardization of Chicago and Philly and
only if we talk about the
Rochester
highways.
And Pittsburgh. It's going to be weird.
Only if we talk about going on the Jake Burn.
Oh, on that Jane Byrne.
We figured out where the Jane Byrne is.
Whew.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for hanging out with us and listen to probably the longest single pieces of music that we've done on the show so far.
Yes, thank you for bearing with us. They only get longer from here. No, I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Next week, Wagner. No, that'd be terrible.
No.
Terrible.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
If you have anything you want to hear us sing, you know how to reach us. You can post on here on this live stream. You can email us.
Perk and Bark, all spelled out, at gmail.com.
If you are watching and you are not a Patreon subscriber, welcome, welcome. And you can go to patreon.com/perkandbark. If you are able to contribute monetarily, it is, I believe, once a month is how that goes. Oh, Zach's going to pop it onto our screen here.
But we may not be able to talk while it happens, so we're just going to pop it on the screen for a second.
Okay, real fast. Cool. Yay! If you heard me say cool, then yay, it works. Anyway, so if you want to contribute that way, lovely. We would love to have you, and so you can get those trip updates as they come in just a few short weeks when we're in Chicago. Otherwise, please keep coming. If you are unable to contribute monetarily, contribute in the comments, share the page, talk about some Perk and Bark. We hope that you learn, a little about music, a little about coffee. If you learn nothing, that's okay. Just we hope you come and enjoy.
Yeah. So with that,
silly little show.
Have a great week. Hope you enjoyed your coffee and your talk and your music, because we certainly